Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Shuklam Bharadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopashantaye Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurave Sarvalokanam Bhishaje Bhavaroginam Nitaye Sarva Vidyanam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Shruti Smrti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Lokashankaram Apara Karuna Sindhum Jnanadam Shantarupinam Shri Chandrasekharendra Gurum Pranamami Mudanvaham Parityajya Maunam Vatadhasthitincha व्रजन् भारतस्य प्रदेशात् प्रदेशम् मधुस्यन्ति वाचा जनान् धर्ममार्गे नयन् श्रीजयेन्द्रो गुरुर्भाति चित्ते नमामः शङ्करान् वाक्य विजयेन्द्र सरस्वती श्रीगुरुं शिष्टमार्गानुनेतारं सन्मतिप्रदम् ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ. Welcome to the 10th class of Dheivathin Kural. We have been seeing about Aharam. Aharam as a part of Acharam. Acharam, what is Acharam? Acharam is those things that we have to do based upon our Shastra, which is going to help us in spiritual upliftment. That is called as Achara. And Aharam plays a very major part in this spiritual upliftment because it makes the very body which is the dharma sadhana. Shastra says, Shariram Adyam Khalu Dharma Sadhanam. Shariram, the body, is a tool not to experience various sensual pleasures, but Shariram, the body, is a tool to follow dharma. Shariram Adyam Khalu Dharma Sadhanam. And the food that we eat physically gets converted into the very body which is the tool for dharma sadhana. Say we have a computer, we have an iPhone, or we have any type of phone which we use as a tool to efficiently manage our lives. I have a laptop which I use it as a tool in order to do my job, in order to efficiently manage my life, in order to pay my bills, and for entertainment as well. So I have to take good care of my computer. Only if I take good care of my computer, I can achieve all those things. I will be able to do my job properly. I can have good entertainment. I can pay my bills regularly, etc. In the same way, our body is a tool to perform dharma. Our body is a tool with which we perform dharma, and only and if and only if we keep our body nice, we will be able to perform our duties properly. And food plays a major role in order to help build our physical body. In fact, food is what which becomes our body. This, this is told in Taittiriya Upanishad as well. Our body is made up of food. Our body is sustained by food. And after death, it is our body which becomes food for others as well. So our body is made up of food. Our body is sustained by the food, and our body becomes food for other organisms after our death. So the body is Brahman, says Taittiriya Upanishad. So food, Annamaya Kosha, is given a lot of importance in Sanatana Dharma and for Acharam. And not only the food helps to build our physical body, it also has influence on our mind. You are what you eat, not only with our physical body, also for our subtle body, the Sukshma Sharira, which encompasses Mano, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chitta, etc. So The food is important for both our physical body, the Sthula Sharira, and the subtle body, the Sukshma Sharira. In fact, Chandogya Upanishad tells this fact. There are several Upanishads. Of those, 108 Upanishads are very famous. And in those 108 Upanishads, there are 10 Upanishads for which Trimatha Bhashyams are available. Shankaracharya has written Bhashyam. There is a Bhashyam from Ramanuja Sampradaya. There is a Bhashyam from Dvaita Sampradaya as well. And those 10 Upanishads are called as Dasopanishad. Dasa means 10 Upanishads. Dasopanishads. And Adi Shankaracharya often quotes from these 10 Upanishads in his Brahma Sutra Bhashya as well. And Chandogya is one of the very important of the 10 Upanishads. In fact, Chandogya and Brihadaranyaka Upanishads are two big Upanishads in that list. All the other Upanishads are relatively small. Chandogya Upanishad and Brihadaranyaka Upanishads are very, very big in volume. In Chandogya Upanishad, to the Sishya Shvetaketu, the Guru tells, Annamashitam Tredha Vidhiyate. Hey Sishya, the food that you eat becomes three parts in your body. The food that we eat has got three parts once it's get digested. First part, tasya yahasthavishto dhatuhu tatpurisham bhavati. The grossest part of the food that we eat gets excreted, goes into the waste stream. That is the grossest part of the food. Tasyaha yes thavishto dhatus tat purisham bhavati. Purisham means excreta. So the grossest part of the food becomes the excreta. Yo madhyamastan mamsam. The medium part of the food or the middle part of the food, the subtle part of the food becomes the mamsam, becomes our very body itself. Yo nishthastan manaha. The subtlest part of the food becomes our very mind, says Chandogya Upanishad. So the food that we eat has got three parts. It has got a grossest part, it has got a subtle part, it has got a subtlest part. The grossest part of the food gets excreted as waste. The subtle part of the food becomes our body. Each muscle in our body, every fat in our body, even blood in our body comes because of the food that we eat. That the subtle part of the food becomes the very body. And the subtlest part of the food, yonishthas tan manaha, the subtlest part of the food becomes our very mind itself, says Chandogya Upanishad. If we are building a house, if we build a house with quality material, the house will be of good quality. If we are building a house with inferior quality material, the house will be of inferior quality as well, right? If you are building a house with nice ISO grade material, the house is going to be strong, it is going to last longer. There won't be, rain or shine, the house will protect you. But if there are some adulterations in the raw materials of the house, then one rain, the house will start leaking. In the same way, if we eat quality food, our physical health, we will have good physical health and we will have good mental health. But if we eat inferior quality food, just like how a house built with inferior quality raw materials will show its true state, in the same way, if we eat inferior quality food, that is going to show in our body. That is what even doctors say. Many diseases that we have right now are due to our lifestyle or due to our diet. So those are diet-based diseases because of wrong food practices that we have. But science only goes until the physical body. Our Shastra extends that to our mental health as well. Just like how science accepts that the food that you eat affects your physical health, Shastra says, hey, food that you eat affects your physical health, and more importantly, the quality of the food that you eat affects your mental health as well. So be careful, says Chandogya Upanishad. And in last class, we saw the three gunas, how the same person will have sometimes lot of sattva guna, sometimes lot of tamo guna, sometimes lot of rajo guna. These three gunas are cyclic in nature for the same person. What is tamo guna? Tamo guna leads to inaction, tamo guna leads to laziness, tamo guna leads to carelessness, pramadaha, alasyaha, etc., etc. Visa. So that is the effect of tamoguna. What is the effect of rajoguna? The exact opposite. If a tamoguna pradhana person likes to always sleep, this rajoguna pradhana person cannot sit in one place for a few seconds. He will always be moving here and there. He will always be restless. He will be over emotional. Any emotion, he will be present in excess. He will have a lot of anger. This rajoguna pradhana person. But this sattva pradhana person will be balanced in nature. He will be keen to get knowledge. Right now, we all have sattva guna because we all are involved in the process of knowledge transfer. And Shastra says rajoguna and tamoguna one person needs. Yes, if we want to sleep, you have to have tamoguna at that time. If you want to go to work, you need to have some little excess of rajoguna at that time. But for the most of the time, majority, we all should have an excess of sattva guna in order to get punya, in order to get shreya, says Shastra. And the food that we eat will give you tamoguna. Some foods will give you tamoguna. We saw yatayamam gatarasam bhuti. The food that is old food, more than 3 hours old food, the food that is dried out, the food that has changed its very nature, all those foods will give you tamoguna. And the food that is over spicy, the food that is too much hot, any excess, too much bitterness, too much spiciness, too much pulip, too much tartness, any excessive tasting food, that is going to give you rajoguna. And sattva the food that is snigdha, the food that is sweet, the food that is nourishing, the food that is good for your health, all those food will give you sattva guna, says Bhagavan Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, that we saw in the last class as well. So we need to try to eat food that is going to increase our sattva guna. Okay, so what are the foods that are going to increase our sattva guna? Mahaperiyava and Dheivathin Kural says the food that we eat has to have the following levels of purity. The food that we eat should be pure in these three respects. Okay, what are those things? First one, the raw materials like the fruits and veggies have to be sattvic. We need to eat sattvic fruits. We need to eat sattvic vegetables. Vegetables like onion, garlics, etc., they are not sattvic. Even though they are vegetarian, they are not sattvic. So the first one is the padartha shuddhi. Padartha means material. The padartha, the material with which we cook, they have to have certain level of purity called as padartha shuddhi. The second purity is dravya shuddhi. The food has to be obtained through sattvic means. Because we buy food, right? When we buy food, we need to use the dravya, the money which is obtained from obtained from sattvic nature in order to buy the food. I smuggle, I make a lot of money, illegal ways. If I buy food with that type of money, that money is not going to give me anthakarana shuddhi. Or even if I do annadana with that money, people who eat that annadana will have some effect because of the money with which the food has been brought. food has been bought, says Mahaperiyava. So the Dravya Shuddhi, the food with, the means by which we obtain the food also has to be sattvic in nature. And more importantly, the people who cook the food and the people who serve the food. In other words, the people who handle our food, they also have to be sattvic in nature. The food that we eat will get, will absorb the guna and doshas first of the raw material. The food that we eat absorb the guna doshas of the dravyam, of the money with which the food is bought, and the food that we eat absorb the guna and dosha of the people who cook the food and the people who serve the food. So, the food that we eat has to have these three levels of purity. And Acharya also gives a list of things to avoid. Please avoid rajasic and tamasic fruits and vegetables. Please avoid non-vegetarian food. Please avoid alcohol. Please avoid smoking. And in the same list, Acharya puts, please avoid coffee as well. Okay, we understand why rajasic and tamasic fruits and vegetables have to be avoided, because it is going to give you rajasic and tamasic guna. And we even can understand why non-vegetarian foods have to be avoided, because they have rajasic and tamasic gunas as well. But people will argue, this non-vegetarian food also has got another implication, that is ahimsa. Ahimsa we saw as the common dharma, as the samanya dharma of everybody to be followed. And by killing animals, by killing, living things, we are not following the rule of ahimsa, which goes against the very nature of samanya dharma. That is why non-vegetarian food have to be avoided, says Mahaperiyava. Okay, if we make that kind of argument, then the people from the other side, they will argue that, okay, even plants has got life, plants are living things, science accepts plants as living things, even shastra accepts plants as living things. That is why we have different asuras, we have different devas, who take the avatara in the form of tree. We see in Bhagavata, in Bhagavata that, Nala and Kupara, they are the two devas who took form of a tree because of a shapa. And Krishna, during his Damodara Leela, he made that those two tree people into the actual devas. Even our Shastra accept that trees have life as well. And the people from the other group will argue that, hey, even plants have life. If you make ahimsa argument, then it is not possible, because you are killing plants as well. So what to say now? Mahaperiyava explains that in Dheivathin Kural as well. He says, hey, I want to give answer for that. First line of argument that we should make is, hey, we as human beings, we have to eat something. We cannot live without eating anything. So you have to eat something. So what we should do is eat something which causes less harm. If I kill an animal, or if I pluck a fruit from a tree, which is desirable? When we pluck a fruit from a tree, nobody makes any faces. But say, if I am breaking an animal's leg, people don't like that. Many people don't like that. That is why people don't even show how meat is being processed in a TV show or in a video, because it looks so gorum, it looks so gory. So the thing that causes less harm is eating plants, because Bhagavan has made us, yadanne nadirohati. Bhagavan has made us eat food. You have to eat something. Maybe eat less, or eat something which causes less harm among the two. That is the first line of argument that Mahaperiyava makes that we can do. Second thing is, even if we see, when we eat plants, we don't uproot any plants. We don't kill any plants. If we are eating vegetables, those vegetables are already there. If we are not going to eat it, it is going to fall on its own. If you don't, take an apple from an apple tree, that apple is going to fall on its own. Anyhow, it is going to fall. So only those extraneous things we are eating, we are not killing any plants. We are killing animals for food. So that is another type of argument that you can make, says Mahaperiyava. So if somebody asks us, our kids will ask us, especially kids growing up in the US, they are going to ask us, hey, even plants have life. Why should not we eat animals? Animals have life, plants have life as well. If you are making the non-violence as the argument, this argument is definitely going to come, and Mahaperiyava gives that answer in Dheivathin Kural. It is in chapter 3. It is in chapter 3. I urge all of you guys to go read chapter 3, volume 3 of Dheivathin Kural, where Mahaperiyava explains all these things beautifully. And also, some people will say, hey, vegetarian food does not give you enough nutrients. Only non-vegetarian foods will give you enough nutrients because it has a lot of proteins, etc., etc., etc. Mahaperiyava gives the example of an elephant. Whenever somebody is so powerful, we don't see, hey, அவனுக்கு சிங்கம் மாதிரி பலம் இருக்கு, புலி மாதிரி பலம் இருக்கு. We don't say, அவனுக்கு யான பலம் இருக்கு. Only that argument we make because elephants are so powerful. And what is the diet style? What is the diet of elephant? Elephants only eat vegetarian food. So the argument that if we eat only vegetarian food, you are not going to enough nutrients is very much flawed. Even eating vegetarian food gives you lot of nutrients. It helps to build body as well if eaten properly, says Mahaperiyava about having non-vegetarian food. And third thing is alcohol. Alcohol, now we are talking about de-addiction, etc., etc. Alcohol is being spoken about in Vedas itself. Again, the same Chandogya Upanishads talks about Pancha Mahapapas. Even we have heard this word, Pancha Mahapapas, Panchama Padagan, etc., etc., etc. What are those Panchamaha Papas? Chandogya Upanishad gives a list. Steno Hiranyasya. Stenaha means the one who steals. Hiranyasya, gold. Stealing gold is the first Panchamaha Papa. Steno Hiranyasya. Suran Pibamscha. Suran Pibagumscha. Suram means Surapanam, alcohol. Drinking alcohol is the second Panchamaha Papa. Guros Talpamavasan, doing abhacharam to a guru. Doing guru abhacharam is the third Panchamaha Papa. Brahmaha means killing a Brahmana. Brahmahatti dosha is the fourth Panchamaha Papa. First one to steal gold. Second one to drink alcohol. Third one to do abhacharam for a guru. Fourth one is to kill a brahmana. These four are the four of the Panchamaha Papas. And what is the fifth Papa we know? Shastra say fifth Papa is to be associating with all those four people. Just because he does that Papa and he's my friend, Shastra will calculate that as one of the Papa. If somebody indulges in these four Papas and if we associate with them, that is the fifth Panchamaha Papa according to Vedas themselves. So drinking alcohol is not kudiyai kedukkum, kudi natukkum, veetukkum kettadu. All those things are maybe secular in nature, but drinking alcohol is one of the Panchamaha Papas, says Shastra. And now we are talking about Alcohol Anonymous. We are talking about de-addiction centers. We are talking about, going from alcohol addiction, etc., how to remove from alcohol addiction. All those things we speak about now. But Mahaperiyava has spoken about all those things in Deivathin Kural in 60s, 70s, 80s itself. He says, apparently in those times, people printed, the Srimatam printed this notice and they gave this notice to everybody. What did the notice say? வேதங்கள் கள்ளுண்ணாதே என்று முரசறைகின்றன. ஆகமங்கள் தீட்சையை பற்றி சொல்லுமிடத்து கள்ளை விலக்குவதையே முதல் அறமாக உபதேசிக்கின்றன. ஆதலால் வேதமோடு ஆகமம் மெய்யாம் இறையவ நூல் என்னும் திருமூலர் வாக்குப்படி வேதாகம மரபில் வந்த தமிழன் ஒவ்வொருவனும் கள்ளுண்ணாமையை பிரமாணம் எடுத்துக்கொள்ள வேண்டும். அவ்விதம் பிரமாணம் எடுத்துக்கொண்டு கீழ்காணும் பிரமாண பத்திரிகையை ஆதீனத்திற்கு அனுப்புகிறவர்களுக்கு திருநீற்று பிரசாதமோ துளசி பிரசாதமோ அனுப்பப்படும். திருநீரு அல்லது திருமண் இவைகளை தரிக்கும் அனுஷ்டான முறையை விளக்கும் உபதேச நூலும் அனுப்பப்படும். Mahaperiyava says, Veda says do not drink alcohol. Where Veda said that? We have seen previously, Chandogya Upanishad included alcohol drinking as one of the Pancha Mahapapa. The Agamas, the Shaivagamas and the Vaishnava Agamas, they also say, hey, do not drink alcohol. So Veda says don't drink alcohol. The Agamas also says don't drink alcohol. And Tirumular says, வேதமோடு ஆகமம் மெய்யாம் இறைவனூல். Vedas and Agavas has to be pramanam, and because both Vedas and Agamas says alcohol is to be avoided, every person has to avoid alcohol. Every person has to stop drinking. And not only stop drinking, they also have to make a promise to Adi Shankaracharya. He says everybody should send this to Srimatham. What? நான் நமது வேதாகம விதிப்படி இன்று முதல் கள்ளை தொடுவதில்லை. இங்கனம் ஆதிசங்கராச்சாரியார் அவர்களுக்கு உறுதிமொழி கூறுகிறேன். We have to make a promise to Adishankaracharya himself that I will not touch alcohol from today onwards. It's okay. If we have done those things previously, it is okay. It can be forgiven. But from today onwards, I will not drink alcohol. I will not even touch alcohol. That is the promise that we have to make to Adi Shankaracharya. If we do that, and if we send that paper to Srimatam, they will give Vibhuti Prasadam or Thiruman Prasadam, and also Anushtana, a book that explains all the Anushtana. So all those will be given as Prasadam to people, says Mahaperiyava in Dheivathin Kural. See how it is also sacred. It is also has got things to do with punyam and papam, but it is also relevant to the society. How many people, how many households have been destroyed by alcohol, and if people follow this upadesham, all those destructions, all those families can be saved. All those families could have been saved if we follow Mahaperiyava's directions. So that's what he says about drinking alcohol. And he says about smoking as well. Now we think about second hand smoking. We speak about passive smoking. What is passive smoking? I don't smoke, but in my household somebody smokes. Or I'm going in a road, if somebody smokes and I inhale that smoke, and because of that I develop cancer. I myself don't smoke, but because I inhale the smoke from others, it is going to hurt me. In fact, Mahaperiyava in Deivathin Kural, he uses a very strong word. Smoking is a samuha viroda chayal. He says it is an anti-social activity. He uses a very strong word for smoking, because alcohol at least affect the person who drinks the alcohol, and at least affect only the immediate family members of that person who drinks the alcohol. But smoking is very, very bad, because it is going to affect all those people surrounding him, not any fault of their own. So smoking has to be absolutely avoided. Mahaperiyava says it is a samuha viroda chayal. So those things have to be avoided as well. And coffee, we all know why Mahaperiyava says you should not drink coffee. Okay, somebody will ask, because coffee, people say it has got a lot of medical benefits as well. Why should coffee be avoided? Mahaperiyava says, even though the physical effects of coffee may not be as bad as alcohol, because drinking alcohol can never be equated to drinking coffee. Drinking alcohol will get you high. Drinking coffee is not going to give all those effects. Mahaperiyava says coffee is not as bad as alcohol in terms of its effects, but in terms of creating addiction, it is as bad as alcohol. We should never be addicted to anything. And coffee creates that addictiveness in you, and that is why coffee is bad. Coffee has to be avoided. Mahaperiyava says coffee is to be avoided because it is not an intoxicant. Coffee is definitely not an intoxicant. He uses the same English terms. He says it is a stimulant. It stimulates your brain. It makes you addicted to coffee. And that is why coffee has to be avoided. Okay, what about tea? If people ask, Mahaperiyava says, hey, tea is equally anacharam as well. Tea has to be avoided as well. But Mahaperiyava says in Dheivathin Kural, if a person has to drink something, if a person cannot live without any coffee or tea, tea may be a lesser harm. You can drink tea. Mahaperiyava cautions in Deivathin Kural, hey, this does not mean Shankaracharya asks all of you guys to drink tea. No, no, no. That is not what I mean. What I mean is, if you have to choose between coffee and tea, maybe choose tea, but that thing also has to be given up in a due course. Tea, if you have to choose between coffee and tea, choose tea. But not drinking coffee, not drinking tea is the ideal thing. Maybe if you want to remove all those withdrawal symptoms of coffee, you can have tea, but later on you have to leave tea as well. Slowly, tea also have to be avoided, says Mahaperiyava in Deivathin Kural. So all these relates to the Padartha Shuddhi, the purity of the raw material, the purity of the food, whether what type of food we should eat, what type of food we can avoid, all these concerns to that. Next, we have to come to the Dravya Shuddhi, that is, the means by which the food is obtained. That also is very, very important. And for that, Mahaperiyava tells us a story called as Aharam and Haram. There existed a king long, long ago, so long ago. A king was there, and if we have a kingdom, there will be Raja Gurus, there will be gurus, there will be sannyasis who will assist the king, who will give upadeshams to the king, either spiritual upadeshams or even political upadeshams. People in those days, they respected their gurus, they respected the sannyasis. Even now, we see Harihara and Bukka had Vidyaranya as their guru. Shivaji has got, Ramadasa as their guru, Samartha Ramadasa as his guru. So the kings will normally have these gurus who will guide the kings. And this king also had a Raja Guru. And this guru comes to the palace. He normally does upadeshams. He normally teaches to the king, and then he goes back. That is what they used to do. The Rajaguru will never stay in that palace. The Rajaguru will never eat in that palace. Even though he is a Rajaguru, he will go to his own hut. They will be living in hut because they are sannyasis. They will live in a hut. They will eat whatever, the sattvic aharas that are allowed. But this time, the king wanted to do bhiksha for that Rajaguru. Normally when sannyasis eat, we don't call them as eating, we call that as bhiksha. And this Rajaguru, this king wanted to do bhiksha for Rajaguru, and Rajaguru politely avoided. Hey king, no, 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 it is not in my dharma to eat in the kingdom. I want to go back to my hut and eat whatever that is there. And no, the king insisted. So the Rajaguru obliged. He said, okay, only today, because you are my Sishya, I can eat in your palace. said the Rajaguru. And the king asked his servants to make Panchabhakshya Paramannas, to make quality food with the finest quality raw materials that are available, because Rajaguru normally does not eat in the palace, and the servants made really good food. Whatever food, sattvic food that you can be there, they made all those food. And the king, he fed the Rajaguru with his own hands. The king was very happy. And after the Rajaguru ate, he felt little bit sleepy. Normally, if we have a very nice meal, even we feel sleepy, right? So the Rajaguru wanted to sleep in the palace, and the king said, okay. So Rajaguru has slept in the palace. And when he woke up, he saw the palace had got lot of jewels, lot of invaluable jewels, and he saw a pearl necklace. Normally this Rajaguru, he's a Vairagya, he's a Virakta, he does not covet anything. But this day he saw that pearl necklace and he wanted to take it for himself. He's a sannyasi. He does not have anyone. He cannot even wear that pearl necklace, because sannyasis should not wear anything. But for some reason, he wanted to steal that pearl necklace. And when nobody was there, this Rajaguru, he stole the necklace and then he went home. He went to his hut. And now the king saw that the necklace is gone. The king will not, he did not doubt his guru, because he knows the guru is a very honest man. He is a very vairagya. He is a very good virakta. He is a sannyasi. He would not take. So the king has started asking everybody to come and meet him so that he can inquire about the necklace, who stole the necklace, etc. So that inquiry was going on in the palace. But in the Rajaguru's hut, this Rajaguru could not sleep in the night, because normally he will only have pure thoughts. But today he did not have pure thoughts. He had lot of asai. He had lot of wishes for lot of things, and he found it very hard to even sleep. And next day morning, because of all those things, the food did not, he had food poisoning, effects similar to food poisoning. So he had to go dysentery several times. So the Rajaguru expelled all those food that he ate the previous day. Now the Rajaguru felt very, very guilty for stealing the pearl necklace. The Rajaguru again the next day, after expelling all those food that he ate in the kingdom, he went back to the king, and the Rajaguru gave that harem to the king. Hey king, normally I don't know. I will not covet, I will not even lay my eyes on expensive things. But yesterday I had to steal it. I don't know why, but it is me who stole the necklace. So you have to punish me, said the Guru. Because the Guru is an honest man. And the Guru said, you have to punish me, king. There is absolutely no other way. The king said, no, 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 no. Maybe someone else has stolen the necklace. Maybe they have given the necklace to you, and maybe you are, taking the blame for somebody else. I will not punish you. I'm going to enquire everyone even more strictly this time, said the king. And Rajaguru said, no, 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 no. Satyama, it is me who stole that necklace. You have to punish me, the king said. The Rajaguru said. And the king, now he remembered. He said, hey, Rajaguru, okay, it might be you who stole the necklace, but a king cannot just punish the thief. He has to see what is that circumstance in which a wrong thing has done. You have to see the circumstances as well. So, hey, Guru, please tell me, why did you steal the thing? Normally, you will not steal anything. What happened yesterday that made you to steal that necklace from me? The king asked the Guru, and the Rajaguru said, oh, okay, I'm going to meditate. I'm going to do puja for Parameshwara. Maybe in my meditation, he will tell me something. So the Guru went on to meditation. And after some time, the Guru said, hey, king, now I remember. Normally, I eat my own home cooked food. But yesterday, I ate the food that you gave me. Maybe something in that food that made me to steal that necklace, the Guru said. So the king asked everybody who handled the food to come in front of him, And he said, okay, what did you do? What did you do? What did you do? So one mandri, one minister was there, and that minister said, hey king, the rice which the Rajaguru ate is not, we did not buy that rice from a merchant. Apparently, some days back, there were thieves who stole, a grocery store. And, in the process of that stealing, they got caught by the policeman. And the policeman, they confiscated all those, stolen things, and they kept all those stolen things onto the kingdom. And that rice is a smuggled rice. So the store owner did not even come and claim that rice because it is a smuggled rice. If he comes and claims, people will ask, hey, how did you get this rice? So all those problems is going to happen. So it is a smuggled rice which is stolen by sevakas, and we made food with that rice because it is one of the finest qualities of rice available. And maybe it is that rice which caused the Rajaguru to steal, because that rice is a stolen rice, that rice is a smuggled rice. All those guna and dosha of stealing and smuggling, all those gunas have gotten into that raw uncooked rice. And because Rajaguru ate that rice, he also got that guna and dosha of stealing and smuggling. Maybe that's why the Rajaguru smuggled. Rajaguru also said, hey, that could be the reason. So by the story, Mahapareva says the dravyam, the money with which the means with which the raw materials for the food is obtained, that is also very important. You can do a Sahasra Brahmana Bhojana, okay, but if you do that with the money that is illegally obtained, that is not going to do any of us any good. Even now we are hearing lot of experiences with Mahaperiyava that says if somebody wants to give Mahaperiyava money, Mahaperiyava will not accept those money. He will say, no, 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 this money we don't accept. You go give it to somewhere else. Why? Later the Sishyas asked, Mahaperiyava would have told them that, hey, this money is not obtained through proper means. This money is this money is black money. That is why we don't want that money to feed our matam people. That is why I said no to that money. We hear those experiences very, very often with Mahaperiyava, and it is because of this reason. The Dravya dosha plays a very, very important role on the people who eat that food. So till now, we have seen two things. First, the raw materials of the food has to be sattvic. Second, the means by which the food is cooked, it also has to be sattvic. Now, more importantly, Mahaperiyava is going to say the people who cook and serve our food, they have to be in sattvic in nature. It is very, 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 very important. The people who handle our food, the people who cook our food, the people who serve our food, they also have to be sattvic in nature. Normally, okay, now if I give a vaccine example, people will understand. There are lots of vaccines happening, and the vaccines will be produced, and vaccines will be stored at a certain temperature, minus 80 degrees, minus 70 degrees to minus 80 degrees. In the production facility, the vaccine will be stored, and the vaccine will be transported at the same temperature, minus 70 to minus 80. Until the time of administration, the vaccine will be kept in minus 70 or minus 80. The vaccine would have changed several hands, but the storage temperature would be maintained. And that process is called as maintaining a cold chain. In scientific terms, that process is called as maintaining the cold chain. In the same way, for our food, we have to maintain a sattvic chain. The food has to be, the raw materials have to be prepared in sattvic in nature. The food has to be obtained in sattvic in nature, and the food has to be prepared by sattvic people. Just like how we maintain a cold chain for vaccines, in order for the vaccine to be very, very effective, we have to maintain a sattvic chain for our food that we eat in order for the food to do us good. I'm not saying, Shastra is saying, Mahapariva is saying. Nowadays, we take care for the first two things. We get high quality food, we get sattvic vegetables, that is okay. We also buy it with money that has been obtained through good means. That is not a problem. But the problem comes with the person who cooks and who serves. We now like to eat out. Every week, we want to eat out 2 or 3 times a day. Mahapariva says, hey, you should never eat out in a hotel, because if you go in a restaurant, it does not matter how hygienic the restaurant is maintained. It does not matter whether he uses an organic ingredients or not. There are several restaurants who uses organic ingredients. It does not matter whether they use organic ingredients or not. You will never know how the food is handled. You will never know the mental state, the mental purity of the person who prepares the food, and that is going to play a very major role on our spiritual well-being. He says, and I quote, பச்சை தானியத்தையும் கரிகாயையும் நாம் புஜிப்பதற்கு யோக்கியதையாக வேக வைத்தோ பொரித்தோ அரைத்தோ சாப்பாடாக ஆக்கும் சமையல்காரன் யார்? அப்புறம் அதை எடுத்து நமக்கு பரிமாறுவது யார் என்று பார்த்துக்கொள். You have to be very, very careful on who is cooking the food and who is serving the food. இந்த இரண்டு பேரும் சாத்விகமாக இருந்தால்தான் அந்த ஆகாரம் நம் சித்தத்திற்கு நல்லது செய்யும். Only if those two people, who are those two people? Who have made the food and who is serving the food. Only if those two people are sattvic in nature, only then that food is going to do good for our chittam, for our mind என்று சாஸ்திரம் சொல்லுகிறது. சமைக்கிறவர் பரிமாறுகிறவர் இரண்டு பேரும் யாரென்று பார்த்து கொள்ள வேண்டியது ரொம்ப அவசியம். பொதுவாக சொல்கிறது என்னவென்றால், ஒரு தாயாரோ பத்தினியோ சமைத்து பரிமாறுகிறார் என்றால் அந்த போஜனத்திற்கு யோக்கியமான சாத்விக ஆகாரம் என்று வைத்துக் கொள்ளலாம் என்பதே. He says paranna niyamam. There is a niyamam called as paranna niyamam. Para means others, annam means food. Not eating food that has been cooked by others. Others means not your relatives. He says only tayaro or patniyo. The food can be cooked by your mother or it can be cooked by your wife. If they cook with the sattvic vegetables, with the sattvic ingredients, then that food can be considered as sattvic. And Mahapariva says, even when they are cooking, they have to chant shlokas. They have to chant Bhagavan Namas. Please do not listen to music. Please do not listen to film songs and cook, because whatever the thing that we hear while cooking, all those gunas is going to get transformed into that food. We may not see it with our eyes. Science may not accept that, but Shastra says so. Even when the food is being prepared, the people who prepare the food has to chant Bhagavan Namam. They can easily tell Rama 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 or Lalita Sahasranamam or Vishnu Sahasranamam or Saundarya Lahari. It can be any number of shlokas. If people do not know any shlokas, they can chant Rama Rama or Hare Krishna or Hare Krishna or Shiva Shiva Shiva. They can do Nama Sankirtanam and cook the food. But while cooking, we need to have that kind of sattvic mentality while cooking. That is very, 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 very important, says Mahapariva. Only then that food can be called as a sattvic food. Only then that food will do good for our mind, because the very food that we eat gets converted into our mind, says Chandogya Upanishad. And this is something which is being overlooked by many people. So we go, we eat out, we take out. Previously people used to say Annadhata Sukhi Bhava. Annadhata, the person who gives, Sukhi Bhava, let them be happy. Now in India it becomes Annadada Swiggy Bhava. Swiggy is that Uber Eats like thing. Annadhata is Swiggy. Now these days Mahaperiyava says those are all very big ganacharams. You have to eat. The food can be very, 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 very simple. Just tair sadam with some urgai, that is okay. But the sattvic chain has to be maintained. Just like how the cold chain has to be maintained for a vaccine to be very, very effective. In the same way, sattvic chain has to be maintained for the food to be very, very effective. That we have to keep in our mind. With this, we will finish today's class. Now I have an announcement. Since we are doing Dheivathin Kural, in Dheivathin Kural, in some other place, Mahapariva has said Uttama Stutikal Mundru. So this is an announcement for another class. Uttama Stutikal. There are 3 stutis which are Uttama for Ambal. Mahapariva says they are Arya Dushati, Saundarya Lahari, and Muka Panchashati. Arya Dushati is written by Durvasa Maharshi. Saundarya Lahari is written by Adi Shankaracharya. Muka Panchashati is written by Muka Shankarendra Saraswati Swamigal. Of these 3 stutis, Saundarya Lahari is very, very famous. Muka Panchashati, now people know about Muka Panchashati. There are several classes going on for Muka Panchashati as well. But for Arya Dushati, the people don't know about Arya Dushati, as it is not as popular as Saundar Lahari or Mukha Panchashati. Arya Dushati, it has got 200 shlokas in the meter Arya. Arya is a meter. It has got 200 shlokas. It is done by Durvasa Maharshi. Durvasa Maharshi is called as Krodha Bhattaraka. He's a Pujya, he's a Pratasmaraniya. He has to be remembered. It is Durvasa Maharshi who has devised the puja paddhati for worshipping Kanchi Kamakshi Amba, called as Saubhagya Chintamani. Same Durvasa Maharshi has written Arya Dushati. He has written some other shlokas as well, says Mahaperiyava, like Kalyana Vrishti and Shakti Mahimna Stotra, etc., etc. But Mahaperiyava says these shlokas as Uttama Stutikal Mundru. Now we are going to start classes for teaching Arya Dushati. This class is going to be from Monday, 8:30 p.m. EST, Eastern Standard Time, New York time, over Zoom. We have a WhatsApp group for that. I will send you WhatsApp invite to the group. Interested people can join and learn Arya Dushati as well. With this, we will finish today's class. Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.